Hey there, Bob here from Bob's Bassin' and Stuff. Welcome back to Basics of the Bite, Bass Fishing 101, Soft Plastics. This is the third and final video in our course, and today we're diving in to one of the most versatile and, to be honest, one of my favorite finesse fishing techniques, the drop shot. By the end of this video, you'll know how to rig it, how to fish it, where to fish it, and what a bite will feel like. Let's get started. The drop shot is a finesse technique where your bait is suspended and your weight sits below your hook. That separation lets your bait sit still or dance naturally while staying in the strike zone. It's deadly when the bite is tough, when fish are pressured, or when you're fishing deep water. Alright, let's rig one up. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is thread the line on the hook. Now when you're doing this, it's important which way the point of your hook is turned. If this is the end of your line and this line leads to your rod, you want to turn your hook point towards the rod and thread your line through the eye of the hook with the hook pointing up. And what you're going to do is you're going to end up tying a weight down here on this part while your hook will be suspended up here. Now the knot I like to tie on this is a uni. And so I want to show you how to do this. To me, this is the simplest way to get this done. Alright, you're going to loop your line over your hand to where you have a loop with the line doubled at the top. Okay, now that you've got your line doubled and your hook up at the top, you're going to twist the hook around both lines 6 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, when you get to this point, you want to be careful, but I like to put the hook in my mouth, keeping the point away, and then I'm going to pull both ends, the end of the line that's going towards the rod and the tag end, to cinch down a knot on each side of the eye of the hook. Now I hold that in my mouth to keep the hook from flipping back and unwinding as you pull the lines tight. So now you have a hook that is on your line with the point up. Your weight will be down at the bottom, your rod tip will be up at the top, and when you have that tight on your line, it will be perpendicular to the bottom. Now we like to rig ours most often with a soft plastic straight tail worm wacky style. And what we like to do is find the center of the bait where it's going to have about the same amount of weight on each side. Now sometimes that's not the center of the worm, but you want it to be doing this in the water. Okay, so we found our center weight. We're going to go in with the hook through that spot, go all the way through, expose the hook on the other side, and that's gonna be rigged wacky style. You can also nose hook a worm. You go through the very top, come out the top right there, like that. And that gives you a little more of this action instead of the shimmy you get from the wacky rig. Now another way to rig one of these is a Texas rig. Now I'm going to show you with a bigger hook. You just go through the point you come out the side of the worm, you run the worm up on the saver, and just like on the Texas rig video, you're going to want to find where the bend of your hook is. If you have your worm straight, insert your point there. Come through, and you can either expose it or skin hook it. And there you have your Texas rig. You'd use a Texas rig when you're throwing around brush or cover where you need to be weedless. Another thing that we like to do sometimes is rig a minnow. Okay, on a minnow, we're going to come through the nose of the bait, come out the top, slide it down where it sits level with the shank. For the weights, all you have to do is thread the end of your line where you have your tag in through the weight and tie an overhand knot. If you get this hung, a lot of times you can pull an overhand knot out and you won't have to retie your hook. You can just put on a new weight. You can use cylinder weights off of points and flats and around brush, and then use some kind of a teardrop type shape weight if you're in the rocks. I found these work better, not getting down in the crevices as much as these. Okay, here's how to work the drop shot. You cast it out, you let it sink to the bottom. Then you reel your line up until you feel the line tighten against the weight on the bottom. Now you don't want to pull that weight off the bottom, you want to leave it there. And what you've got now is your bait suspended above your weight by however long your leader is. Your goal is to move the bait, not the weight. Keep that weight on the bottom as much as possible. Now for the presentation, you have three options. The first one is to dead stick it. That means you pretty much hold the tight line and you don't do anything. The water movement, the swaying of the boat, the breeze of the wind will all move your bait very subtly, plenty enough to make it look alive for the fish to bite. The second is to shake it. And we're not talking about a shake, shake, shake. We're talking about very subtle, real easy movements. The third is the pump. On this one, you just want to slightly lower your bait and then raise it. And then slightly lower it and then raise it. Just to add some movement to make it look like the bait is moving in the water. Now once you're ready to move your weight, all you want to do is reel down a little bit, drag it forward a few inches, and then do the same thing over and over. You can try different options of the retrieve. You can do all three on one cast. See what's working. The best thing to remember about fishing a drop shot is slow is better. This is a very subtle technique. It doesn't take a lot of action to draw a bite. Now, what does a bite feel like? And I have to say, because you're fishing on tight line, more often than not, you're going to feel the bite, and it's going to be pretty distinct. It's usually a pretty good peg. However, once in a while, you'll feel it just get heavy. Or you'll feel it go slack when you're holding the line tight. That means the bass has got it swimming up with it. But those are rare cases. Most of the time, it's a pretty easily detected bite. You'll feel a thump or a peck. If you feel that, reel down and set the hook with a smooth, firm snap. No need for a big swing on this one. The best places to fish a drop shot are in deep water when the sun is high or fish are suspended, on ledges and drop-offs where the fish stack up vertically, deep ends of docks where the fish are looking for shade, and rock walls or steep rock banks where the bait hangs perfectly for the contour. And anytime the bite is tough and you need a subtle presentation. As far as setup goes, I recommend a light spinning reel with a medium light rod and anywhere from 6 to 10 pound fluorocarbon line. And there's everything you need to know to go out and catch some bass on a drop shot. If you've watched all 3 videos in the Basics of the Bite course, congratulations. You now have the fundamentals to go out and put some more fish in the boat. Before we wrap this series up, I'd like to hear from you. What should our next beginner course be? Jigs? Topwater? Crankbaits? Drop some ideas in the comments. Let me know what you'd like to see and what you'd like to learn. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video with your fishing buddies. And please subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate your support. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, keep bassing.